Good day and welcome to Because Growth Matters, the podcast for sales professionals, business leaders, and growth-driven teams. I'm your host, Daniel Robus, and we are here to rethink how we lead, coach, and grow in today's fast-changing sales landscape. Today on Because Growth Matters, we're exploring what it takes to build a career where the spotlight and the stakes are always high. My guest is Marianthe Panas, a talented young South African actress making waves in London's theatre scene. With a sold-out show, Here I Am, and a growing list of incredible performances behind her. Good morning. How are you, Marianthe?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Very good, thank you. We say in sales that results don't happen by accident. They come from honing your skills, the number of activities, where we focus ourselves, and how we align to a process. I guess that's true on the stage as well. Behind every performance is discipline, preparation, and just the thick-skinned courage to keep showing up.
Mm-hmm.
Why the heck would you choose this as a career?
Honestly, I asked myself the same question. You know what? It's not easy. It's really not easy. I think for so many years, I was doing this as a hobby, and I grew up in Durban, and I was doing so many gigs in Johannesburg, and I was flying up constantly. It was a hobby. I mean, I knew I wanted to pursue it professionally when I left school, but the stakes became even higher when I decided to take it on as my full-time job, because you never know when that next job is coming to you. And unfortunately, it's a very financially unstable industry to be in, and it's really competitive. And I have just finished a contract. I did a year and a half in a musical here. And after the 8th of June, I was unemployed. And it was like, okay, so now I need like a part-time job. It's really rare to jump from job to job to job. People do it, but it's such a competitive industry, and I think the stakes are so much higher now that this is my livelihood. And I'm like, I need to pay my rent, I need to pay my water, I need to pay my electricity. I need to also be able to continue to afford going to dance classes and singing lessons and acting lessons and workshops and buying an outfit for this audition that I have to do. And, like, it's just a very costly industry, and it's it's hard. Sometimes I do think, oh wow, it would be a lot easier. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it'd be a lot easier if I had a 9 to 5.
If you became an accountant, if you had have chosen the regular path. But I think that's the beauty of it, isn't it? It's you forging your own path. So you're hunting the whole time. And I'm going to get into that. Let's just start. What do you miss about South Africa? Just by the way, you're living in London now, and I can see your enormous flat that you're living in. What do you miss?
I left South Africa about 5 years this year. So I left in the middle of COVID, and I moved for drama school. And I left with my brother. I know. I left in the middle of the pandemic. Like, that was not the way I ever expected to leave the country. Obviously, my parents couldn't come with us. So, you as a parent, you want to take your child to their university, drop them off, say goodbye to them. That obviously couldn't happen. And I came with my brother, thank goodness. He also were twins. So he was studying with me. He didn't study musical theatre. He studied computer science, so he went the more academic route. And we came over together, and I cried myself to sleep that first night. I really did, because I thought, what have I done? What have I done? I've come in the middle of COVID, everything's shut. Who knows if what is even going to happen in the future? Like, it could just get worse. But I've packed up my life and I've moved here. My parents are in South Africa. They're 14 hours away. So that was a difficult move. It wasn't an easy move. And I've now been living here for 5 years, and what I miss about South Africa is the people. Honestly, I just think as a culture, we're so warm and friendly. I miss the weather. Oh my goodness, the weather. I miss the fact that everyone was very close to each other, like as in distance wise. In Durban, I was down the road from all of my friends. Yeah, it's just, there's that South African in you that it'll never leave. But I've introduced all my friends here to biltong. I've told them what robots are. I say tackies. You know, like I said to them, if I ever say the word yeah, someone needs to slap me because I can't lose y'all. That is like my identity. I can't lose that. So and you know what? Do you know what? I actually think moving here has made me so much more patriotic than I thought I ever was. And I think it's because being South African Greek is my identity, and that I'm so proud of it. I'm so proud to be South African.
Tell me, what's the most surprising thing about living and working in London? Anything you didn't expect about the theatre scene or daily life that just keeps catching you out?
Well, one thing is like the fact that I can just walk out my front door and walk on the street. Like to me, that's I've never grown up that way before. I grew up for 18 years of my life. My mom would pick me up from school, drop me off at a maths lesson, maybe take me to a singing class, take me home. Like it was we had a very sheltered life. And like here, you know, I see 12-year-old kids walking to school, getting the bus by themselves. And I'm like, wow, I didn't even know what an invoice looked like until I moved here. Do you know what I mean? Like I never had to deal with any of that stuff. So I feel like I had to grow up very quickly. I was taken to my flat. I had no idea what an electricity bill looked like. I had like no idea what council tax was. I had no idea. So I feel like I had to grow up very quickly. That is to me the biggest thing on a day-to-day life is like you can't I think sometimes you can't put a price on like security and freedom. And I'm not saying London is safe, like compare, but you know, there's differences. And in the actual like musical theatre industry, if I'm honest with you, I feel like everyone is a lot more supportive of each other. I wouldn't say that I grew up in the musical theatre industry in South Africa because I was very much still just a singer there. I did a few musicals in Durban where I was from. I did Annie and I did Shrek, but I wasn't really exposed to the big musical theatre industry. However, I do still think the little that I was exposed, maybe it was age, I'm not sure, but I just feel like here everyone is way more happy for you when you book a job because everyone knows how hard it is. And, you know, I graduated from drama school a year and a half ago, about 2 years now, and I still have friends that haven't worked yet they're still happy for me, you know, and that's really difficult. That's really difficult. And I think it's because it's so big here. It's so competitive. There's so many people, whereas it's so small in South Africa. So you're constantly competing against the same people all the time, all the time, all the time, all the time. And then that creates a bit of a nasty environment, I would think. Whereas here, because it's so big, everyone knows how hard it is. So everyone is happy for each other, you know?
Totally, totally. And those wins can't be discounted and they're building all the time. And that's brilliant. You've got a show coming up. Here I am. I believe it's sold out. What does this mean to you? Where is it?
So I was just in a show called Starlight Express. That was my first job. I graduated from drama school. I was auditioning for about 7-ish months before I even booked this. And so that was a long time to get a lot of rejections, a lot of rejections that people don't really see on social media, you know, but behind closed doors, there was a lot. And I thought for a period of time, I thought maybe I'm not cut out for this. I don't know. But I ended up booking the job. I was in it for a year and a half. I ended up my role in the show was I was in the ensemble and I covered the lead and the supporting lead. So when I went on for my debut as the lead, the male lead, we sang together. His name is Jeevan. And we were like, oh my gosh, we blend really well. Like, there's something about our voices and it just works. And I think, you know, even in a day-to-day life, you know, as a person who you have a connection with. And similarly in singing and acting, you know, if you have chemistry with someone or you have like that vocal blend with someone. And we were like, oh, we sound really good together. Da, da, da. And then I had a wonderful, you know, dear friend of mine, Colette Dawson, well-known producer in South Africa, publicist, and she came to watch Starlight Express. She came to London. She saw me do the lead role with Jeevan, and she said to me afterwards, you know, you guys sound really good together. Da, 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 da. And then a few months later, she said to me, what do you think about doing your own show? And I went, perfect, 100%, let's do it. I don't ever want to turn down an opportunity. Like, that is an opportunity for me to sing. Whether I'm getting the most amount of money, whether I'm getting littlest nothing, like, to me, it's an opportunity to showcase myself. And yeah, we spoke. I said, Jeevan, do you want to be involved? He was 100% going for it right from the bat. So it was great. And then we just started having conversations, and it was like, okay, well, who can we get to be our musical director? And then I had met someone who's working on Wicked. So I said, will you be involved as our musical director? He said 100% yes. So it's just my friend in South Africa made the poster for us. He's a graphic designer. He works with Lyft Airlines. I said, can you make the poster for us? Perfect, so it honestly just, and then all of a sudden we announced the show, and it was like, oh my gosh, we are actually doing this now. We're actually doing this. And then maybe last week it's sold out now. So we're doing 2 nights and it's sold out. I can't believe it. It's a cabaret. It's singing. The tagline is celebrating the songs that got us here. So we're talking about our journeys and how music impacted our lives. And like, there's a song that reminds us of this time of our lives. And I think it's just to make us a bit more human. Like, we're all human, and we've all gone through rough patches and highs and lows. And I think with a lot of Starlight Express fans, they've seen us. I mean, the show is about trains. So I was in train makeup and big costumes, and, people only know us via those characters. But it's like, no, we are actually humans. We've lived lives before Starlight Express. And Jeevan, for example, is a big advocate for adoption. He was adopted when he was a little boy, and he's very open about it. And like, that's something that he hasn't gotten the chance to really speak about. And maybe that will come up in this concert. So it's just going to be a wonderful, intimate evening.
Amazing. It's showing. Where's it showing in London?
It's at the Phoenix Arts Club, which is in Leicester Square.
Stunning. Good luck for that. Break a leg. But let's rewind. Was there a moment, a person or a performance that made you go, yep, this is what I want to do? Where did that come from?
So I would say I always grew up singing from about 9 years old, maybe even before. My granny would teach me Greek nursery rhymes. So I would sing Greek nursery rhymes. And my other granny, who I'm named after, who I never actually met, she passed away before I was born. She had won a singing competition in Rhodesia when it was called Rhodesia. I think that's now like Zimbabwe. I think it could be Zimbabwe. But she won a singing competition. She was flown to England. She sang for the Queen of England in Buckingham Palace. There's a photo of her there in Buckingham Palace. I never met her. I'm named after her, and I'm the only singer in my family apart from her. So I truly feel like she gave me this gift, and I always just used to sing. I just used to sing. I did my first original song when I was 9 years old. I was always just a singer, and then I started getting into drama, and I enjoyed acting, and then I ended up getting wonderful opportunities in Johannesburg, and I would go up and sing in Johannesburg, fly back down to Durban, write my school exams, fly back up to Johannesburg, rehearse for something else, fly back down to Durban. That's what my life was like. For a while, Daniel, I didn't know what to do. As in, with my career, I thought, should I pursue this, or should I just go the academic route? And hitting about grade 11, I was like, maybe I will study business studies, because that's just the safest option to do. This industry is difficult. I don't know if I can even do it. So I applied to Tufts University to study business. I was thinking of applying to other universities in South Africa for business studies. And my parents then, when they were like, no, but you want to do musical theater. Like, that's what you want to do. I even emailed drama schools in Cape Town, asking them about their admissions and their everything. They got back to me, and then I decided my dream was always to come to London and do that here, because I used to travel. We used to travel often as kids. I have cousins here, so we used to watch musicals all the time here. And I was like, oh, I really want to do musical theater. Like, I would love to do that. And then I thought, no, I need to actually apply for drama schools in London. That's my dream. So I emailed all the drama schools back. I emailed all wherever I sent my business applications. I emailed them all back, and I said, actually, I'm going to go study in London. I didn't even know if I would get accepted, but I just said, no to everything in South Africa. And I was like, well, this is what I'm doing. And I got accepted. I sent self-tapes through at Stageworks, where I did a lot of gigs, and there had a lot of correlation through Stageworks in Johannesburg. I went there. They helped me self-tape everything for all my drama schools. I got an email a couple of days later from my dream drama school, actually, Art Ed. They said, "Can we do a Zoom with you?" Not Zoom wasn't a thing, because it was Skype. Skype. They said, "Can we have a Skype?" I sat in the office. I did a Skype session, and then a couple hours later, I found out I got accepted, and that was it. And so I'm really glad that I have parents who are so supportive of me, and I think growing up in an environment where you see all your friends going off to study science, business, marketing, all that stuff, I think to a degree I was like, okay, well, I need to study something like that, because that's logical. That's logical. Why would I do musical theatre? And I had parents who were like, but that's your dream. That's what you've always wanted to do.
Let me dive in there. You work with now coaches, mentors. What sort of support squad do you have? What role do they play in helping you either sharpen your edge or just get over things?
I have a wonderful group of people that I speak to all the time, and a lot of them actually are still they're in South Africa. I speak to Rowan Backer really often. I speak to Colette Dawson. I speak to Brian Schimmel, and so many times going through that when I left drama school and I was auditioning for 6 months and I wasn't booking anything. All of them were on my phone. I would send voice notes. It was podcasts I would send them. And I had them go, this is what it is though. This is the industry. You are good enough to be there. Otherwise you wouldn't have gotten into drama school. You wouldn't have gotten an agent. You wouldn't have been, and like it's having those people behind you that are like, when I'm down and when I'm upset, they are encouraging me. And I think it's so difficult to believe in yourself if you don't have other people telling you that as well. And like, I don't know, people can disagree or agree on that, but I do think sometimes a support system helps you get through the really rough patches. And I have a great support system here as well in England. And I had wonderful mentors from drama school that I was still speaking to, that I still speak to post drama school.
Now you've gone to school and you've honed things. You arrived, you could sing. You're now triple threat. You can sing, dance, and act. What did you have to hone in order to push it across the line to get your first big role and now second and third?
For me, drama school was extremely hard. It was a place where you're thrown into a year group of about 50 people, and everyone are as talented as you, if not more. And everyone have different strengths. And I discovered weaknesses of mine that I didn't even know I had, and strengths I didn't know I had. It's really difficult because every day I'm looking at myself in a mirror and I'm judging myself every day. I wasn't the most technical dancer when I came here, and a lot of people were. They grew up doing ballet and jazz. I didn't, so to be in a room and then to kind of feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not actually as good as them. Why am I here? Am I gonna, and like then the self-doubt starts to play in your head. So that was really, really hard. Like there were many days where I would cry, many days. And I think that is just the nature of the beast. Like that is drama school. And what I came to realize is that at the end of the day, I am not like everyone else, and no performer is going to be the same. No person is going to be the same. We all have strengths in different areas. We have weaknesses in different areas. And, in actual fact, I booked a notoriously hard show. I booked Starlight Express, which is on roller skates. I had to learn how to roller skate for 3 months. And then I had to sing, dance, and act on roller skates for a year and a half. I went through a lot of injuries. I was constantly injured. I mean, you could even see the back of my neck right now. I have cupping on the back of my neck. Like it's still something that I'm dealing with post contract. So I do think that the right job is meant for the right people. I think that, some people as well, no matter how talented you are, you might not have the diligence, the resilience, the work ethic to put into a hard show. someone might not be the most talented person, but they have the mindset that'll make them get better. And, so I think it's so different. It varies.
People come and they see you on the stage, they only see the show. What does a practice day to hone your skills look like from when you wake up?
Every night, I will probably steam. So that is I'll show you actually.
You will steam every night.
Nearly every night. So
Wow.
this is a Dr. Nelson, and it's a steamer. So you put boiling water into this. It kind of comes out through here, and you sit and you breathe it in, and then you can't speak after that for about 20 minutes. Vocal health is like number one priority for me, because that is my strength. That is what I know can sell me as a performer. I'm not saying I'm not talented in any other discipline, but that is, I need to be aware that that is my selling point. I know that I can't be going out every single night. I know that I can't be drinking every single night because that'll dehydrate me. Even being in the sun dehydrates you. Talking for hours on end is vocally tiring because my vocal cords are a muscle. It's like an athlete, An athlete isn't going to go and drink until 4 a.m. every day. That's not going to help them. It's the same for me. I'm not saying I don't go out and I don't have fun. Of course I do, but I do have to be smart about it and not stay out every night until 3 a.m. For me, that's a priority. Secondly is, going to dance classes. Well, if I'm honest with you, post Starlight Express, I did take about 2 to 3 weeks to just recover and recuperate because my body went through a lot in that job. But, now it's like I've just booked a dance class for tomorrow. I'm going to a dance class tomorrow. I'm still getting physio because when you hold a lot of tension, then it affects you here. And so there's so much singing lessons. I'm constantly traveling up for singing lessons. I asked my singing teacher for another singing teacher I could go to just so they can hear my voice, so I can sing different material. Constantly, I was doing acting sessions. I booked 10 sessions. I was doing one-on-one private acting. Even though I went to drama school, I think it's important to note that the training doesn't stop there. The training does not stop there. And I left drama school and I said, okay, I want private acting sessions. I need to continue with singing and then continue with dance. And that's what I had to do. I found a coach. I would travel to North London weekly to do private acting. I would go to my singing teacher south in Bromley weekly for singing lessons. I would do dance classes. At the same time, I need income. So I'm now recording hymns for this church in America weekly. I go and I record hymns for them. I teach singing and I teach Lambda exams. I do private teaching. So it's honestly, it doesn't really stop, actually.
I want to have a pause there. And for our listeners, the reason why I asked that question is for us in sales and sales leadership. I want you to hear how many times Marianthe has said that she is honing her craft and working on her skills and getting her skills going and adding to her skills and never letting it go. And the amount of coaching sessions that she goes through. How many are we giving to our people? How many sessions are focused on honing the skill of selling, of being part of a deal coaching, of time management, of adding value, of speaking where we are? I really love the way you've spoken about that. Let's talk about something else. We talk about having a pipeline. These are leads that are going to be coming in. They're going to pay the bills next month. For you, the equivalent, I imagine, are projects you want to go on or auditions. How many are you juggling at any one time, or is that someone else's problem and you just pitch?
You know what? There could be weeks where there's nothing. Literally nothing. There could be weeks when you have one every day. I had a friend who told me she had 3 auditions in one day and still had to go and perform in Matilda on the West End that night. I actually was told during Starlight Express in my final week, my agent called me and he said, Marianthe, this casting team would like to see you for this audition on Thursday. I know you have 2 shows that day, so your audition is at like 9:30, 10 in the morning. For a singer, that's early. That is very, very early. So you're up at the crack of dawn, warming your voice up, and singing. And I'm so sorry to my neighbors, but that is just what we have to do as singers. The one time, because my brother actually lives in the same building as me, different block, I was practicing my songs. All the windows were closed. He messaged me. He went, I can hear you like outside your flat. And I was like, oh my gosh, what can I do? Nothing. So honestly, you can go through periods of time where it's nothing. You can go through periods of time where it's absolutely chaotic. And on top of that, it's like, you can do one audition, but you might get a recall. So that could be next day. That could be next week. With Starlight Express, I thought I was cut multiple times because I didn't hear back for like a week at a time. And then it was like, okay, can you come back for another dance round? Okay. Then you have to drop everything because obviously you want the job. So drop everything, make sure you're at that dance round. And then you spend hours outside of that audition preparing lines, preparing songs, going for singing lessons to work on the songs, going for acting lessons to work on the scenes, practicing the routine at home if you know you're going to have to do it again. And then you just might not get it.
So how many auditions or projects do you juggle at one time? Do you go and look for them, or have you got a manager who goes to find them for you?
Yes, I have an agent. So he is the one who submits me for everything and he puts me up for jobs and auditions. Obviously, if there's things that I know that are coming out, I can always message him and say, "Hi, David, I would love to be seen for this. Is that possible?" But you know what? What I also learned is that agents can push you for things, but sometimes the casting team, you're not the right look. So they're like, okay, well, we don't want to see them anyways. And it's hard because, yes, this industry is about how talented you are, but it is a lot about this, and that also I think can take a toll mentally and emotionally.
Well, that's my next question. How do you keep going when it feels like there's loads of output, but the results aren't what you want? What's your secret to getting up?
I don't even know if I have that answer because I still struggle with that. It's so difficult. It's so hard. I would lie to you if I say it doesn't affect me at all. It affects me all the time because I'm constantly going, well, maybe I should change this about myself. Maybe I should do this. Maybe it's because I look a certain way. I didn't get the job. Maybe and that's a really difficult thing. And I think, if I'm honest with you, why a lot of people don't actually end up staying in this industry for a very, very long time, because it's toxic. It's hard. I'm trying to show a random panel of people that myself, Marianthe, am talented enough for your show, and then you don't get the job and you go, well, I'm not talented enough. That's what it is then. But then it could be other things, but you just never know. Sometimes you just never hear back. And then I go, why did I not ever hear back from them?
They don't even tell you were bad. Oh, my word.
I'll give an example. I did a audition for this one show, a very high-end West End show, before I booked Starlight Express. I was recalled. My recall was a 1 hour long. I had to prepare pretty much every single song in the show. I did a 1 hour session with the whole team and I never heard back. Still to this day.
That's just rude. That's just rude.
So it's hard.
But we do that from a sales perspective. You have these pitches that you go in and you pitch to them, and the difference between your ego and identity with the deal and the pitch, it's hard for us who are passionate about it to separate them.
That's the thing, because I think that's something that I'm still working on, is the fact that I was doing this because I love it, and I don't ever want to get to the point where I hate it, because at the end of the day, this is what I love to do, but this is what I'm getting judged on.
Do you think you're going to be able to change it to think of it as a business and separate the two? It's what you love to do versus, hey, it's a business and people are paying me?
Yes, I do think so. Now more than ever, because now I'm actually doing this for my livelihood. I know now that I'm a performer. I have to do this for a living. I'm doing something like, I guest sang at a cabaret last week, and that was lovely, and I really enjoyed that. And that was a chance for me to sing. I'm singing in my own show. I can't wait. That's a chance for me to sing. I don't have to prove to anyone that I need the job, because I created that opportunity for myself. So I think that it is important to do things for yourself in that sense, because otherwise all I'm doing every day is trying to book a job in front of a random panel of people who are going to judge me and say, actually, you're not right for this role, or you're perfect for this role. That's too hard mentally for me, because I love this. And also, I think what's really important is that I've discovered I don't ever want to hate this. So I had to find things outside of this that I enjoy, new hobbies, because for 18 years of my life, this was my hobby. I was a normal student at school. I was doing, and this was my hobby. And now all of a sudden it's what I do every day. And it's like, well, I need something else to make me happy. Otherwise it will kill me. It will kill me.
Well, talking about not killing you, we don't want you to be killed. So unless it's on stage and it's amazing ending, have you got any daily or weekly rituals that you've built that keep your energy pointed in the right direction? Is there something that keeps your feet in the ground and your head in the clouds?
So I'm Greek Orthodox. So I was raised Christian. And so to me, my faith is really important to me. And I really use that to remind myself of things and of life. And I've made wonderful friends that are also really religious. And every day I have my word of the day. I read through it. Journaling is a big thing. I used to journal a lot when I was in drama school. That was really helpful to get through the hard days. But yeah, I think turning towards faith for me was a huge thing. And I have to remember that what's meant for you will never pass you by. And when one door closes, it was for a reason and another door will open. There's just so many things that I have to constantly remind myself of. Yeah, so to me, religion and faith has really gotten me through the hard days. Really.
Amazing. I love that answer. I love that. That's so good. Well done. So let's talk around the process when you prep for auditions. Do you have a process, or is everyone a brand new game? Do you know, will you be different for Waitress compared to Starlight compared to?
Yeah, I think to a degree, every show that you audition for will be different. There's not like one certain way you do everything, but I have skills through drama school, through private training, that I know how to analyze a script. If I got a scene, I know how to analyze that. I know how to break that down. Like that is like a plan that I can use for any audition. But the way that the auditions happen is different. I mean, I can give you a great example for Starlight Express. I went in, I sang my own song, and they said, "Thank you so much." Didn't hear back for a week. And then they called me in for a dance round. I went in, did the dance round. They said, "Thank you so much." A couple days later, I heard that I was back in for another dance round. Did the dance round. Thank you. Then it was like, they called me in for a singing round. They said, "Can you sing this song?" Pearl, the lead song. I came in, learned the song. They said on the email, they said it's a workshop. So we're going to work through the song with her. I did the song once, and then they said to me, "Thank you so much." And then I left and I went, "Oh, okay, well, I've definitely got cut because they didn't want to work on that with me. And they said that they were. And I phoned my agent and I said, "I don't think it went well. They didn't work on it with me." And he was like, "Well, I think it went well because they've asked you to come back for another dance round." And I was like, "Oh, okay." It's so unpredictable. You just never know. And then for my final singing round, they asked me to learn another character's song and bring that in and perform that for my final round. And it's like, by the time I booked the job, I didn't even know what role I had. They're different for different shows. But if you were to audition for something like Wicked, that audition process is standard every year. It is the same way that they do it. You sing your own song, you sing the alphabet material, you get called in, you work on the scenes, like what you can do for that. But for something like Starlight Express, where it's a new revival of a show, I had no clue what I was doing.
Well, you brought up Wicked, not me. I cannot wait for the second episode of the movie. I can't, oh my word. I just think it's one of the great movies that's come out. I have to, I've watched it about 3 times, cried twice. Don't hold it against me. Cynthia Erivo's voice is incredible. She is just amazing. So yeah, let's wait for the next one. I can't wait. This rejection that you get in the arts is very similar to what we get in sales. What helps you bounce back and keep showing up? What right now is that one little mantra you give yourself that's good, apart from leaning into people on your WhatsApp, which is amazing? Just quickly, what's the thing that gets you back?
What's meant for you will never pass you by. That is the only thing that I keep on saying to myself. Clearly, it wasn't meant for me. And you know what? I had a lot of things that I was in for before booking Starlight Express. I had a lot. And if I had gotten any of those, I wouldn't have gotten Starlight Express. I wouldn't have learned a new skill. I'm now a professional roller skater. I learned so much about myself as a performer, as a person. I had to go through so much emotionally, mentally, physically. I broke my arm. I had nerve stuff down my arm. I had so many injuries in this job that I had to recover from quickly to do my job. I was thrown on for my debut of the female lead with half an hour's notice on roller skates. I had to do, like there were so many aspects about this job that I think has grown me so much as a performer and as a person. And had I gotten any of those other jobs, I wouldn't have experienced this. I essentially originated a new role in this revival of the show because my character didn't exist in any other versions. I met amazing people. I've created bonds for life. Had I gotten any of those other jobs, that wasn't my experience. And also, I've heard people who have got those jobs and they just weren't happy. So it just shows you, like, I truly believe that's what is meant for you will not pass you by. And that is difficult because I know in myself that I could not have a job now for another year. I might not have another job for 6 months to a year. I don't know. And I think it's important to also live my life. If I'm honest with you, the first summer when I left drama school, I stayed in London. My brother went to South Africa. He went back home with his girlfriend. My parents were in South Africa. All my friends had gone. I stayed because I was like, I need to book a job. I need a job. I need a job. I need a job. I had one audition that whole summer and I was miserable. I was so sad. And I thought, I can't do that again. I can't wait for the phone to ring. Yes, I think it's important to create your own opportunities, but I also need to live my life. And I think that's also a big thing that I've taken from this job and just working in this industry for a year and a half is that jobs will always come and go, but family time, friend time, me in my 20s, like that'll never come back.
What's been your most memorable performance or moment on stage when you thought, yep, I'm doing what I was made to do?
Honestly, it's any time that I perform. I have always in my life been a very insecure person, and for me, singing, being on stage, performing is what I know I'm good at. And that's my safe space. I will always love it. When I did my debut as the female lead in Starlight Express, I was a mess. I mean, I was crying and I just thought, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. I don't want to do anything else. And it's so hard because you love it so much, but the rejection is so hard and it makes you want to give up.
Sure. I love that. So, Marianthe, what's on the dream board? What's the big show or the big role? If you could walk into it now, that would be like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to open a business. What would be that role?
Wicked. Wicked, wicked,
Oh.
wicked.
And which role?
Alphaba. Alphaba. That is my dream role. That is my dream role. And everyone who knows me knows that that is my dream role. And I just have to believe in myself that I will one day be seen for it, It's a hard role.
Smash out defying gravity and reduce your parents to tears. Okay, that's brilliant. That's nice. My closing question to you, what is your 1%, that small, powerful difference, mindset, habit, or idea that makes you stand out, push through, get things going?
I think knowing how much my parents have sacrificed for me to be here. I mean, when I booked my first job, it was more because I wanted to show them that it wasn't all a waste, and look, like all the money that they put in to me and my future wasn't a waste. And I did it and I booked a job and I booked a big job. And, don't forget, prior to me moving here, they spent so much money on singing lessons, acting lessons, dance classes, this musical theatre exam, Lambda exams, Trinity exams, flights to Johannesburg, car rentals when we got to Johannesburg, making dresses for different gigs that I had to do, buying outfits. There was so much that they put into my hobby because it was a hobby at the time. It wasn't even like I was doing it professionally. And then they had to and then I moved here and they supported me. And, knowing how much they've put in is why I can't give up, because I want to do it for them.
Marianthe Panas, thank you so much for sharing your story. It's inspiring to see how much discipline, resilience, and passion you have inside, and it all comes together in the stage and beyond. Most important, what I've taken away here, there's a lot that goes on in the dark when people are not around, and
Yeah.
that ensure that your growth happens, because growth matters. Growth matters. So from us at Because Growth Matters to you, just smash it out there. Have a wonderful show, and we look forward to seeing your name in lights.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It was great to talk to you. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Because Growth Matters. If you got value from today's conversation, please take a moment to rate the show 5 stars on your listening platform and share it with someone who might benefit as well. Don't forget to follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. Catch you next week.